welcome to our 35th Annual Armenian Bar Association Conference. It is a pleasure for me to introduce our first speaker for this morning, the human rights defender of the Republic of Armenia, Ms. Anahit Manasyan. Ms. Manasyan is not only the human rights defender of the Republic of Armenia currently, she is a PhD in law and associate professor. Previously, she has served as Deputy Prosecutor General of the Republic of Armenia, senior legal expert of the European Union-funded project, Consolidation of Justice System in Armenia. She is a member of the Commission on Evaluation of the Performance of Judges, member of the Professional Commission on Constitutional Reforms in the Republic of Armenia, and she is the Vice Rector of the Academy of Justice. Having 16 years of experience, educational, scientific, and practical in the sphere of constitutional law, including the sphere of human rights, Ms. Manasyan acts as an independent national preventive mechanism. Last month, on December 29, 2023, Anahit Manasyan was elected as a member of the European Committee for the Prevention of Torture and inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment by the Committee of Ministers of Council of Europe. Anahit Manasyan is an author and co-author of 12 monographs, 4 manuals, and more than 7 dozen scientific articles, which were published by prestigious Armenian and international publishing houses, including Great Britain, Germany, and Poland. She was an international and national consultant in the frames of various international organizations, including OECD, Council of Europe, UN, EU, etc. And in this context, she participated in the preparation of opinions, researches, and guidelines on numerous issues. Ms. Manasyan has given lectures during several international seminars and in several foreign scientific and educational institutions, including Georgia, Hungary, and Ukraine. Anahit Manasyan is also a member of the editorial board of several international academic journals, including Juridica, published in Ukraine, and the international academic journal, Journal of Political Science, published in Warsaw. It is with great pleasure for me to introduce to you the human rights defender of the Republic of Armenia, my good friend Anahit Manasyan.
Amy-Jan, thanks a lot for this introduction and the kind words. It has been a pleasure to have an opportunity to communicate with you and to cooperate with the Armenian Bar Association. Dear colleagues, first let me thank the organizers for the initiation of this beautiful event of utmost importance, and the invitation extended to me to participate in it. It's a pleasure and honor for me to take part in this important meeting and to have an opportunity to speak about the protection of rights of the forcibly displaced persons, to discuss all the issues connected with the protection of rights of this group of people, because of the great importance of this topic for all the Armenians worldwide. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to travel to US because of different health reasons, but it's my real pleasure that I have an opportunity to address you at least in an online format. Actually, last year was really difficult for all of us because of the situation in Artsakh and of course because of the forcible displacement of the Armenian population of Artsakh. And of course, this is one of the main topics on which I, as the human rights defender, am working. I have been working since the start of the process, and starting from the beginning of the forcible displacement, both me and also my staff, we were at the registration centers ourselves, both in Sunik, in Goris, Fornitor, and also in Vai. And we have been implementing different activities connected with the protection and promotion of the rights. And our first goal was, of course, to monitor how everything is being implemented by the state authorities of Armenia. And we actually revealed different issues, issues connected, again, with the general system of the protection of and promotion of rights. We were communicating with different state authorities, and we were able to solve different issues in cooperation with the state authorities. But of course, for us, one of the main directions was to implement fact-finding activities in order to provide the general information connected with the fact what happened with these people. Because, of course, for me as the human rights defender of the Republic of Armenia, it is really important that the rights of these people are protected and promoted. And of course, it is very important also for me to reveal all the vulnerable groups in order to provide recommendations to the state authorities how to implement and develop different mechanisms for the protection and promotion of the rights of these people. And of course, to provide information to different international organizations with the mandate of the protection of human rights in order to present the whole situation connected with the rights of this group of people. And actually, it was really very emotional, both for me and also for the staff, because we were implementing our activities on a daily basis. We were working also at night in order to be able to very quickly provide the information, firstly, to the international actors with the mandate to protect human rights, and of course to provide also the different legal counseling and also to provide help and assistance to these people. And I would like to speak about the main results of our fact-finding activities and also about different international opinions and observations, which also use my report and my different statements and my information, which was also provided to different international organizations, actually in a confidential manner. Firstly, I would like to highlight that we interviewed during these 2 weeks more than 350 people. And actually we revealed that almost all these people represent different vulnerable groups because of the fact that they all became victims of this or that type of ill treatment. Because firstly, they underwent through this Lachin blockade, Lachin corridor blockade situation, when these people do not have proper food, medical treatments, they did not have first aid products, etc. And of course, it was my mission also to present this situation to different international partners in order to show that all these people are victims of different types of ill treatment, because ill treatment is not just torture, but it is also the inhuman treatments, the degrading treatment, etc. But of course, after the start of the military aggression by Azerbaijan, these people underwent through, again, different types and different activities connected with ill treatment. Because, firstly, and this is very important also while interacting with different international actors, we revealed during our interviews and by the monitoring which we were implementing, the social media platforms, monitoring of the social media platforms, etc., We revealed and presented to different international organizations that civilians and also civil infrastructure, they became targets during this military aggression by Azerbaijan. For instance, in Goris, when we were interviewing different people, we revealed that in Goris there was a car which belonged to one of the citizens of Stepanakert. And this car, when they were trying to escape from Stepanakert, this car became a target. We were able to photo the car and to present this to different international actors, and we revealed different other situations while interviewing people, and the main results were presented during in frames of the first adult reports of the human rights defender of Armenia. And by the way, it was referred also by the Commissioner for Human Rights of the Council of Europe while presenting the general observations on the situation and what had happened actually during that period of time. This means that both residential districts, both civilians, ordinary people became targets. Actually, Jan and Ardat can also speak about this, but we all know that, for instance, different child deaths occurred during these processes. We had actually also such a situation when, for instance, when I was in the registration centers, people were coming, and many people just lost their consciousness because of the fact that, for instance, there was one family with children. They lived in one of the villages. They, when this military aggression by Azerbaijan started, they just escaped from their houses, and they had to run away to forests for several hours to reach Stepanakert. And when they reached Stepanakert, it was actually just they had to again go to basements with no food again. When they ran away, they had no food. Here they had again no food, and they spent some 2 days on the way to Armenia, and again they had no food. And when they entered the registration center, I witnessed the situation when a child just actually lost consciousness because of the fact that they had such a situation. And of course, they had that Lachi blockade situation with all the results during these processes. What is really very important while speaking about this general situation is that during our interviews, we also revealed that different cases of violence also occurred during this forcible displacement process. And in order to be sure that this information is reliable and that we are able to present it to different international actors, I contacted with state authorities and received information with regards to dead bodies which were transferred from Nagorno-Karabakh to Armenia. And there were signs of torture, mutilation on these bodies. And this is actually a very important information for presenting the whole process and the atrocities which occurred during these processes. I presented both these dead bodies in the confidential part of my report, and of course the general report, which is public, it was also sent to different international actors. And actually this was the first report which was developed very quickly, just in several days after this forcible displacement process. I invited all the ambassadors and also representatives and heads of different international organizations and agencies. And in some sense, this broke actually the whole perception, because at the first stage, people, international actors, they were communicating with us, and maybe there was no information about these violence cases and these torture cases, mutilation cases, etc. And in some sense, this broke the situation, and I'm really happy that this part of the report are represented also in the frames of the observations which were developed by the Commissioner for Human Rights of the Council of Europe, which she developed after her visit. Both the cases of targeting civilians and civilian infrastructures, and also these torture, mutilation cases, etc., were presented by referring to my reports. Actually, it is very important that the Commissioner also presented the situation in the Armenian border communities, again referring to my reports which were developed last year with regards to the general situation of the protection of human rights in the Armenian several border communities. And actually in these reports I'm also speaking about the fact that in the result of the legal presence of the Azerbaijani servicemen in the Armenian border communities, again we have a very severe situation with regards to the protection, to the general system of the protection of human rights, because here, for instance, we have schools which are direct targets, etc. And these reports were also referred in the observations of the Commissioner for Human Rights of the Council of Europe. Actually, I would like to mention also the fact that which is again very important while presenting the general situation. The Armenophobic policy implemented by the Azerbaijan, by the state of Azerbaijan, which is also very important while presenting all the issues connected with this situation. The main reason that we are speaking about this is that it is really important not to present just several cases connected with this general situation, but also the whole context of the situation. And in this whole context, it is really very important that in comparison with Armenia, where we do not have this state-sponsored hate speech policy or Azerbaijani public policy, etc. In comparison with this, and this is also mentioned in different international observations, recommendations, Azerbaijan is implementing this state-sponsored Armenophobic policy, and this is really very important for the presentation of the general context. Here I would like to highlight that we are still engaged in different processes connected with the protection and promotion of the rights of people who are now in Armenia, of refugees. And we are very active in this because we are providing different legal assistance, etc., legal counseling, even how to approach different social assistance programs. Different issues were solved by the intervention of the human rights defender and the office. Of course, notwithstanding the fact that the reaction of the state has been really very quick and adequate, but again, different technical issues are occurring, etc., and we are trying to help and assist these people with the protection and promotion of their rights. Maybe I will stop here because of the fact that actually I can speak endlessly on all those issues. I would like to thank you again for the organization of this important event and for the invitation to participate in it. And I'll be happy to answer your questions if you have such. And of course, I'll be happy to have further cooperation in other spheres connected with the human rights protection system, because actually I'm not representing the government, I mean executive power or Armenia, and not representing the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but I'm an independent and apolitical official who is working just on the human rights issues, the protection and promotion of human rights issues. So it will be my pleasure to have further cooperation with your organization. Thank you so much.
Manasyan, for your presentation. Now I'm going to open it up for Q&A, for questions and answers. If anyone has any questions for Ms. Manasyan, yes, please.
Hello. Thank you for participating in this event. It's wonderful to have a representative of the governments of Armenia here. But I do have a couple of questions for you. I'd like to know, why is it that you've chosen not to use the word Artsakh ever in your discussion? And why do you refer to the victims of a genocide conducted by Azerbaijan as these people? Everything, this is not just aggression, military, etc. This is genocide. Let's call it what it is. Let's remember the name of the Artsakh Republic and the Artsakh Armenians. So my question is, why omit these things? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the question. Actually, I'm not refraining from using the word Artsakh. Actually, my first reference was to Artsakh and the situation in Artsakh during even the first part of my presentation. So I'm not refraining from using the word, of course. And if we speak about different legal issues, human rights issues, actually, I am representing an institution which has different methodologies and principles for work. So I'm using all the legal terms, both the legal terms connected with forcible displacement, both all the other legal terms in comparison with the methodologies and principles which are compatible with the general methodologies of such institutions. And of course, in case it is in comparison with these general methodologies and principles, I will refer also to these words. But of course, as a representative of such an institution and as a state official, constitutional official, I should present just an information which is very reliable and 100% reliable, has 100% reliability. So it is actually with this reason that I'm using the terms with this methodology, and this is also the reason that I mentioned that different international actors are also referring to my reports. And the reason is that everything which is presented in this report, actually, they have this reliability, and they are in comparison with all the methodologies which should be used by the institutions with these authorities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Manasyan. Yes, please.
One question. Can you give us, Ms. Manasyan, some specific concrete examples, please, of your coordination of efforts with the human rights ombudsperson from the Republic of Artsakh? Specifically, concretely, what are coordinated efforts that are already underway or those that you're soon planning to do? And if there is no coordination yet, tell us what some of those challenges are.
Do you mean the cooperation and coordination between my office and the Human Rights Defender of Artsakh, or do you mean something else?
That's what I mean. Yes, that.
Actually, I think that the Office of the Human Rights Defender of the Republic of Armenia and the Ombudsperson of Artsakh, our offices have had great cooperation during actually all the activities, and of course we have this cooperation also now with Geram. So we have had this cooperation with Geram. We received different information from Geram. We used this information. We are using this information, or we use this information during also reporting about all these cases. Actually, if you are aware of my ad hoc report on the fact-finding activities, you can find also references to Geram Stepanyan when he's presenting different cases, different numbers, etc. And so actually, of course, we can speak about this cooperation and coordination. Thank you.
Good afternoon, good evening, Ms. Manasyan. I have a question as an American attorney following the news in Gaza. We saw that the Republic of South Africa applied to the International Court of Justice against Israel, alleging genocide occurring in Gaza. Now we know that two experts on genocide, even before the September completion of the Armenian genocide of Artsakh occurred this last year, Juan Mendez, the UN advisor on genocide, as well as Luis Moreno de Campo, the first ICC prosecutor at the International Court, Criminal Court, both referenced what was occurring, the blockade of Artsakh, as an ongoing genocide. Now that ongoing genocide culminated in the complete displacement of the Armenians of Artsakh from their ancestral homeland. The Republic of Armenia is a signatory to the United Nations Convention for the Prevention and Punishment of Genocide. It not only has a moral obligation, but it actually has a legal obligation to advocate and step in and apply to the International Court at The Hague on the issue of genocide committed by Azerbaijan against the Armenians of Artsakh. Has your office taken any steps to advocate that the Armenian government do just that, apply to the International Court on the Genocide Convention for what has occurred? And has your office issued any writings referencing the events of Artsakh as genocide? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Actually, I would like to highlight that I have a concrete and particular mandate. Here in Armenia, I'm working on the protection of and the promotion of the rights of people if the violation is occurred by the Armenian state officials, state authorities, and local self-government bodies. And I have the mandate to promote human rights in the Republic of Armenia. So I think that maybe the question should be addressed to some other Armenian state authorities, for instance, the representative of the Republic of Armenia on different legal matters in different institutions, etc. But of course, I am in touch with different state institutions. I'm in touch also with different international organizations with a mandate to protect human rights. Most of this communication is, of course, confidential, but I'm also presenting different, not just public statements, but also different opinions, etc., which are connected with different human rights issues. And of course, as I mentioned, different international organizations with a mandate to protect human rights are using both my public statements and public reports, but also sometimes they use the information which was presented to them through different contexts and actually even through different confidential ways. So this, as I mentioned also during the introduction and during my speech, it is really very important for me to follow the integrity rules which exist for ombuds institutions, because I'm also a member of different European networks, UN networks, etc. And in case I breach these integrity rules, in case I'm engaged in activities which are not appropriate for my mandate, of course, these organizations are not going even to use the information and to use also my reports, and these reports will not be taken into consideration because of the fact that I'm breaching the integrity rules and I'm breaching also my general mandate. So this is the reason that I'm strictly keeping this line, and I'm strictly following both the integrity rules and also the mandate which I have. Thank you so much.
Good evening, and thank you for being with us today. I have a question that's really three parts, and it's something that I think the world will take note of Armenia if you address these three issues the way your mandate requires. The first one, it deals with domestic violence in Armenia. The Armenian Bar Association has a subcommittee on domestic violence, and the proposals that we've made to the ministry have been all but ignored. I'd like to know what your office does as the ombudsperson and human rights defender in Armenia for domestic violence. That's one of three issues I want to ask you about. The second issue I want to ask you about, and this is something that Israel makes a big deal about, and that's their treatment of gays and lesbians in Armenia. How aggressively does your office intervene in those issues involving discrimination against gays and lesbians in Armenia? The third issue that I'd like to hear you on is anti-Semitism in Armenia. Recently, Azerbaijan made a big deal about the attack that I think was provoked by foreign agents against the synagogue. Where is the investigation on that issue, and what has your office done on that? Thank you.
Thank you so much for the very important questions, because they are all covered by the mandate of the Human Rights Defender of Armenia. Firstly, I would like to highlight that equality and non-discrimination issues are real priorities for me, and I have had different public statements and also different activities with this regard. Actually, here in Armenia, one of the most important problems, they are connected also with the implementation of these principles, with the implementation of the principles of equality before the law and the principle of prohibition of discrimination. Because here we have problems almost on all the bases. The basis of sex, the basis of political approaches, etc. Here we have real problems, and actually I'm one of the active persons speaking about this even publicly, and sometimes this is also the reason that I'm targeted here in Armenia through different social media platforms, etc., because it is not very popular in Armenia to speak on these issues. But anyway, I'm speaking about this publicly, and we are also implementing different activities with this regard. Actually, almost on all the cases you mentioned with regard to the synagogue, the cases, for instance, which were connected with the murder in Armenia of a transgender person, etc. I, as the ombudsperson of the Republic of Armenia, had public statements with this regard. Again, public statements which are connected with my mandate, which are covered by my mandate. I'm providing different opinions with this regard. I'm working with different international organizations, by the way, on this topic. We are actively engaged also in different international activities. For instance, we are also developing the knowledge and skills of the staff of the Human Rights Defender on these issues. We organized several training courses for the staff of the Human Rights Defender last year, and we are still in the ongoing process of developing the skills and knowledge of the staff. We are requesting clarification and explanations and also information from different state authorities in order to understand how the state authorities are addressing these issues. For instance, with regards to the case with synagogue and also the murder of the transgender person, my main actually key idea, and which was presented also in the public statement, was that the authorities, the corresponding authorities, should implement the investigation in a way to understand whether this was implemented actually with, for instance, different initiatives which are connected first with the sex of the person, or with the religious issues, etc. And we are still awaiting for different explanations and information from the corresponding authorities. But of course, I'm going to speak about all these issues also during my annual report and the presentation of my annual report, because this is the main toolkit which the ombudspersons and national human rights institutions can use in order to present the general situation in their respective countries. And what about the domestic violence issues? We are also very active in this sphere. Me as the ombudsperson, I'm advocating for the development of the legislation in Armenia on domestic violence, and I am presenting different opinions to the state institutions with regard to the development of the legislation. I'm presenting recommendations to different law enforcement authorities in order to improve and develop the law enforcement practice with this regard, because it is obvious that, of course, we have different problems here in Armenia. I'm also advocating for the ratification of the Council of Europe Istanbul Convention, which is on these particular issues, and of course it is very important in order to have a proper legislation in Armenia and also to have proper law enforcement practice with this regard. And actually, in general, all the issues connected with women's rights and the protection of the rights of women, also connected with this principle of equality before the law, etc., are also one of the key topics and priorities for me. Actually, I am collaborating with different international organizations, international partners, and we have even organized different activities with this regard. I have counsel adjunct to the Human Rights Defender of Armenia on the rights and on the protection and promotion of rights of women. Actually, on my initiative, we established another council which is for the protection and promotion of rights of national minorities here in Armenia. Because, yes, of course, we cannot speak about this marginal discrimination, for instance, of national minorities in the Republic of Armenia, but we have real issues with regards to the need of promotion of the rights of national minorities. And with this reason and with the aim to promote and protect the rights of national minorities, I established a council just to the Human Rights Defender, and we have representatives of almost all the national minorities who are in the Republic of Armenia, different NGO representatives, different people who are active in the protection of the rights of national minorities, etc. Here in Armenia, if we speak about the principle of equality before the law, we have also different other problems connected with the protection of and promotion of the rights of persons with disabilities, and I'm also very active in this sphere. We have another public council adjunct to the Human Rights Defender of Armenia, which is working on the protection and promotion of the rights of persons with disabilities, etc. So, in general, if we speak about the principle of equality before the law and non-discrimination area, this is, of course, one of my priorities, and not just me, who is very active in this sphere, but in general, we are trying to implement different other activities. By the way, I'm volunteering also in one of the social care institutions, and I'm working myself with the people with disabilities, etc., which is, of course, very important for the development of the general system of the protection of human rights in Armenia. Thank you so much.
I have two quick questions for you. Thank you for your time today, and I'm sorry we started late. My first question is about the forcibly displaced Armenians of Artsakh, and you mentioned that they're being, they're given homes, and the government has reacted very quickly. My question about them is, what efforts are being made to keep the existing communities of Artsakh, whether they're villages or communities, together, and how does that intersect with their human rights, their right to dignity and to be able to live with the communities that they had before? What efforts are being made in that regard? And the second question was, you mentioned that you collected accounts and histories as a civil society organization, that's a legal organization like the Armenian Bar Association. In what ways do you think we could collaborate with the Human Rights Defender's Office in connection with those collections of oral testimony?
Thank you so much for a very important question. Actually, I will speak on behalf of the Human Rights Defender's Office. We are actively cooperating with different NGOs which are working or which are uniting people which were forcibly both displaced during the recent processes, and even NGOs which are uniting people which were forcibly displaced and just escaped from Baku and other cities of Azerbaijan in the end of 80s and in the beginning of 90s, etc. We have a very active cooperation with these NGOs. Even if you check the public information presented on our social media platforms and also on our website, we had even different public meetings with these NGOs on my initiative. We were discussing different issues which are important from the viewpoint of the protection of their rights. Actually, as I mentioned, I'm not a representative of the executive branch of the Republic of Armenia, but I also have information because I actually tried to collect different information on the activities which other state institutions are implementing with these NGOs. And I also noticed, and my staff, we noticed different public information also on different meetings and also on different cooperation issues with these NGOs. I think that it is really very important to cooperate with civil society organizations, and in particular with the NGOs representing those groups, because of course, firstly, for us it is important to be able to protect and promote their rights in the Republic of Armenia, but there can be different other state institutions with different mandates, or there can be also other organizations, as your organization is, which can also assist and support somehow in the presentation of proper information and evidence on the events which occurred. And with regard to the second question, of course, it will be very important to have an opportunity to cooperate, because it is firstly very important to disseminate the information, to present the information to different actors, because for instance, I have an opportunity as the ombudsperson to present the information to the appropriate institutions with the mandate to protect human rights. I'm communicating with them, I'm in continuous touch with them, and I'm trying to present this information, both the public information, as I mentioned, and also, for instance, the confidential part of the information as the pictures of the dead bodies, which were with signs of mutilation or torture. But it will be really important to have an opportunity to more widely disseminate this information. And of course, we can further discuss other opportunities for the cooperation, like how, for instance, it can be important for different organizations, as your organization is, for instance, to present different issues with regards to the cultural heritage, etc., which should also be documented and presented to different international actors, etc. But we can discuss this even further in order to understand what kind of cooperation we can have in this sphere and on this topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Manasyan. I greatly appreciate your time, which you took on behalf of the Armenian Bar Association. Do we have
maybe one more question?
I was told we're time's up, but we'll give you a quick question.
We're trying to catch up on the schedule.
What's being done regarding securing the release of Armenian POWs and non-combatant detainees?
Yes, I think I caught the question and the idea. With regard to the prisoners of war and people who are now and who have been held actually in Azerbaijan, again here we were also providing information with regards to different issues connected with human rights. We had different public statements presenting the whole situation and presenting different facts connected with human rights. But we were also in touch with different organizations, providing some more information, some confidential information. For instance, we collected information with regards to the general system of the protection of human rights, with regards to Bagir Pachadyan, who was abducted at the Lachin checkpoint, and we were presenting this information to different international actors. So we also presented the information which we collected to the Armenian other state institutions, which were presenting these cases to different regional courts, etc., for instance, to the European Court of Human Rights, etc. And again, if this is connected with human rights, we have been developing different studies and different studies connected with the protection of the rights of these people, with the need that they should be returned to the Republic of Armenia in comparison with all the standards of the international humanitarian law, etc. I even had public statements with regard to the fact that, firstly, for instance, all the so-called legal proceedings which are implemented in Azerbaijan with regard to these people, they cannot be in comparison with different international standards because of several reasons. Firstly, the right to the fair trial cannot be ensured here because of the fact that, for instance, the principle of principle of presumption of innocence is breached during all these processes, and all the other factors connected with the violations of the right to a fair trial of these people. And of course, it is very important, as I mentioned, that the Armenophobic policy of Azerbaijan is a key factor here. And of course, it is not possible in the context of this Armenophobic policy and in the context of the different violations of the right of these people to have fair trials in Azerbaijan implemented towards all these people. But again, we were active as our mandate is providing an opportunity to us with this regard. But I would like to mention that most of the communication was also confidential, presenting different issues with regard to human rights. Thank you so much.
All right. Again, Ms. Manasyan, thank you so much. On behalf of the Armenian Bar Association, I want to thank you for taking your time. And as you said in one of your answers to our president, Tali Sahabian, I'm looking forward to more cooperation with the Ombudswoman's Office in the Republic of Armenia. And thank you for